More than 200 publications around the world are taking part in a campaign to highlight Israel's murder of journalists. News sites and papers have blacked out front pages, calling on Israel to stop targeting journalists and to let foreign press into Gaza. Israel has killed more than 247 media workers in Gaza, including 10 from Al Jazeera. The protest was launched by Reporters Without Borders, the Committee to Protect Journalists, and the International Federation of Journalists. And we have with us Anthony Bellanger, who's the General Secretary of the International Federation of Journalists, joining us from Brussels this hour. Thank you for your time. So this is quite unprecedented, this global newsroom protest. What impact are you hoping it will have?
Thank you for inviting me. I'm really happy to discuss with you today. Yes, it was time for the media to take action. Unfortunately, the major media outlets are not on board, but together with Havas, the IFJ has become involved in this global campaign to highlight the catastrophic situation of journalists in Gaza. More than 250 media outlets have decided to participate in this major global campaign, and I thank them for that. But I'm not saying that this will solve everything, this will solve all. But we must show the citizens of this world that without journalists in Gaza, there will soon be no more information about the war, only Israeli propaganda.
Over 240 journalists have been killed, as you know, since the war began. This isn't happening accidentally. This is intentional. Why do you think that is?
It's clear that journalists are not welcome in Gaza. Palestinian journalists are not allowed to leave Gaza, and foreign journalists, as you know, are not allowed to enter. So our members, the journalists of the Palestinian Journalist Syndicate, PJS, are now the only ones informing the world, including Al Jazeera, of course, because you are still a journalist in Gaza, in the Gaza Strip. So it's a real massacre, and so it was time for journalists and for the media to take action.
And if the flow of information coming out of Gaza is restricted by killing the journalists, then the Israeli military can continue acting with impunity. Is that a fair assessment?
Yes, of course. The army always has a good reason to kill a journalist. With complete impunity. They shoot at people who only have cameras and phones in their hands. And the battle is totally lost. Journalists are not soldiers, and I have to recall here, it is a war crime. I have been twice in Palestine since the war began, and I must admit that a few months ago, there were very few of us telling the truth about the situation in Gaza. The IFJ has its Palestinian affiliate in Gaza, the PJS, as I said, and I still have 800 journalists and media workers there. So it's still the total impunity.
Mr. Bellanger, as you know, the Israeli military says it doesn't target journalists, but we see the condemnation right now. No amount of condemnation seems to be yielding any results. So isn't it time to ensure political and legal accountability and justice? And if so, how?
Yes, of course. We have organized major fundraising campaigns for our colleagues. We have sent safety equipment, medical kits, phones, batteries, tents, blankets, etc. Now, with this money, we are sending for food, for water, because all is extremely expensive in Gaza. But the IFJ is taking actions because diplomacy has failed, global diplomacy in particular. No one is able to tell the Israeli government that it must stop this massacre, and that is creating 2 generations of hatred and 2 generations of insecurity in Israel. Their responsibility is enormous, and historians in the years to come will judge our area harshly. How could we have all this to happen? And finally, the IFJ is working with a number of diplomats at the UN to get a convention, an international convention on the safety and protection of journalists. But to be honest, it's really, really difficult to have a good discussion in New York in the United Nations.
Yes, it is. That's what we're seeing. Okay, Mr. Anthony Bellanger, you're the General Secretary of the IFJ, joining us from Brussels. Thank you so much for your time.
Don't miss out. Get the full picture. Subscribe to Al Jazeera for reliable news, expert insight. Like, share, stay ahead.